To create the ring, you'll need to start with a circle once more. So I'll hit Shift A, go to Mesh, and then I will choose Circle. And then I'm going to rotate the circle. So I'm going to basically hit RX. But before I do that, there's nothing I'm changing under the vertices. I'm not changing the radius. I'll change this within the mesh itself, so in the edit mode. So I'll just hit X90. Then I'll switch to the front view. Then I will hit Tab 1 to see my vertices, and then I can hit S. Then I can move this down, so GZ, then S again, okay, then GZ. Yeah. Actually, before I actually move it that high, I just want to see the circle in its entirety. So now what I can do, I can click and drag to select these points, and I want to flatten them so that they lie flat, like horizontally. So to do that, the points are selected. I can hit S, then Z, because the Z axis is the vertical axis, so Z. Then I'll type in 0. So S, Z0. And we flattened the points, they're horizontal. Then I want to create the extrusion, so a surface. So I'll hit A, then I'll hit E for extrusion, then S for scale. Then I can actually see my extrusion. Okay. Then I can switch to the right view. Then I can move this up now. So GZ. Actually, let me escape. Let me hit A to select everything. Then GZ to that point. Then GY. I'll move it there so that when I choose to create the thickness, it goes up to somewhere here. So now I can hit E, then drag and click to accept. So now we have the ring itself, right? So if I switch to the front view, the ring usually has an opening here. So I need to select these faces and delete them. So I'll hit Z to go to wireframe, then I'll hit 1. Then I'll click elsewhere to deselect. Then I can select the faces I want to delete. So there's this. So I'll hit S. Then I'll choose delete faces. And maybe I should delete even more. Actually, vertices, sorry. X vertices. But I feel like that's too large, I guess. So maybe them being tiny is fine. The gap being tiny is fine. Okay. Then I need to close this hole because there's a hole. If I go to solid, so I'll hit 2, select these 2 edges, then hit F to fill that face. Select this edge and this edge, hit F to fill. Then I'm going to create a bunch of edge loops. So I'll create edge loops on the outside and on the inside. So Control R and click, actually double click so that the edge loop is centered. Then on the inside, Control R, then double click to accept. The reason I'm adding these edge loops is, first of all, I want to reinforce the surface, the mesh itself. And also I want to have good geometry to allow me to make adjustments here. So if I go back to the front view, hit Z wireframe, and hit 1. Then deselect, I can select this and move it. Then I can select this and move it. Okay. So I've just refined that so that it's not like really hard. I want it to have like a good sort of curvature, right? So now that we have that, I would like to reinforce some of these edges. Of course, you could use the bevel modifier, but I'd prefer not to. So I'll hold down Alt and then Shift. Okay. Actually, let me use the edges option. So Alt Shift stops here, Alt Shift. Okay, then Alt Shift for that. So I'll select on both sides so that I can make the changes to the mesh quite easily, right? Then I can choose bevel edges. Then I can drag. Just want a tiny increment. So hold on Shift, remember? to kind of control the increments, then I can click to accept. And I can tab out. Then if I select this and choose shade smooth, doesn't look so bad. Then I can add a subdivision modifier. So subdivision surface, see what happens, right? So here I'm noticing that this has a slight curvature, which I don't like. I wanted it to be flat and kind of a bit slightly harder. And this is quite soft. So we'll need to fix that. But so far, so good. So to fix that, we'll just need to reinforce this edge and this edge as well. So I can turn this off in edit mode. Okay. Then actually what I can do, let me undo this step. Okay, so I've undone the steps, just having selected the edge loops so that I can add this edge loop to my selection and this edge loop as well. And we can actually enter isolation mode so that we can actually see. So those are the edge loops I forgot to select, as well as this one. Sorry. So let me just hold down Shift and select this and this, right? Okay. So I just forgotten this. That's why I got that smooth surface. Then I can choose bevel edges. Then I can click and drag, hold down Shift. So small change. Because if you make it huge, it's going to be really smooth. So I want it to be quite small. So at the top here, I'm seeing 0.000083. So I want it to be smaller than that. So let me release Shift so that now I can make that change. Then hold down Shift and I want the small increments. Then I can click to accept, then tab out. Then I can add a subdivision surface. Then I can right click, shade smooth, and it gives me that hard surface. So of course, if you didn't want this to be this hard, you can actually not have it selected, but I had selected mine. So yeah. So the difference between what I have done by using the, if I tab in, by using the bevel edges is that I'm actually making changes to the actual mesh. But if I use the bevel modifier, I'm not actually making like exact changes on the mesh. I can actually get rid of the bevel anytime I want the bevel modifier. But for this is something that is permanent. So you have to remember that, and you have to be able to choose when you choose bevel edges in edit mode and when you choose the bevel modifier. So for the candy, I use the bevel modifier, but for this, I chose to kind of define the type of mesh that I want, right? So I want it to be slightly harder because that's how they kind of are. So if I hit the backslash to exit isolation mode, this is what we have, right? So quite pleased with it. Okay. So the next thing would be probably some candy overflow, because usually for these types of candies, this isn't perfect on the surface here. On the surface of this plastic, there's always some thin film of candy on the surface. And that's the next thing that we'll do.